Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're putting together our anniversary gift box. It's kind of like 3 boxes in one, and stay tuned, I'll get to what I mean by that. But I have all the pieces here in front of me, and we're just gonna hop right into it and get started with our assembly. Now, first thing we're gonna do is find this piece that has this little wavy border. And we're going to begin by putting some of these overlays in place here first. It's always nice to work flat when possible. So we're going to find these little matching pieces that go along with this section here with the wavy little border. You get your glue around the perimeter, and then also work a little bit in a wavy motion here to make sure that we get those little waves glued down as well. We don't want those peeling back. And you're going to want to position this so that it's nice and centered. And so it leaves a nice even border on all 4 sides here. Down here by the wave, these sides, as well as right here. So you can see how that should look. So let's get that in place. Make sure you press down all the way around. Okay. And we'll do the same thing here at the bottom. And then we'll do the same thing on top. Okay, doing a little bit differently this time. That's okay. Instead of kind of riding that wave with the glue, I just went up and down and made sure to get a little bit of glue in those little wave areas. Okay, again, just make sure you get that nice and centered there so that we keep a nice even border all the way around. Okay, just like that. And then on top here, this is the lid of our box. So this is going to go right on top here. So we want to get that glued down. And we'll start assembling the rest of this here in just a moment. Go easy with the glue. I'm going especially easy with mine because this paper is probably a little bit thinner than my AC cardstock. It's not quite 65 pound. It's probably somewhere in between because it is more floppy than usual. Okay, so let's get that in place. Now, you're probably wondering, well, where are these other 2 sides here? Well, we've got them, and we'll get them in place here in a second. Just want to make sure that everything is making good contact here. Here are our other sides. They're just slightly too big to remain connected to this piece here. So we just have to glue this down manually. So go ahead and get some glue on these tabs here. And let's spread that glue out to the very edge. And it might be easier to do it this way so you can see the little score marks there. And so that we get it as centered as possible there. You see the little score marks there. You want to try to get those lined up as accurately as you can with the ones on this one here. Okay, so let me fold that over onto itself. Press down right at that seam. It's a good sized box, and what we're going to do is use this for a variety of things. Either A, some chocolates, B, you name it, whatever fits in there, or C, we've devised a little platform so that you can give a beautiful watch if that's something that you ever wanted to gift and create a custom way to gift it. This is the box for you. I don't think we've ever made anything like this, so it's definitely a must-have. And the cool thing is that even though the caption on ours is Happy Anniversary, well, you can do birthday by just omitting the anniversary, or just get rid of that completely, or get rid of this completely, and make it for any occasion. so it's up to you how you want to do it. Okay, so we do have one more side here to create our lid. So again, I'm going to put glue on this tab here and spread that glue out to the very edge so that when we do join it, it looks nice and seamless. Again, kind of lining this up so that these horizontal score marks align with the horizontal score marks on the main part of our lid here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll give that a second to set, and then I'll take it, flip it over onto itself here. And if I need to kind of nudge this a little bit, now's the time. There we go. And just press down. Make sure that that sets nicely. There we go. So if anyone wants to buy me a watch, you can put it in this box. And then I think it'd be even nicer. All right, so we're going to close up this lid here. As you can see, we've got these tabs. So throw a little bit of glue on one at a time here. I'm just kidding. You don't need to buy me a watch. You've already done enough for me. And so we've got that tab there. We're going to tuck it behind this side here, line that up nicely, and give that a press. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot to put the panel on this one. Yeah, that happens. It's okay, you can still do it while it's somewhat together. It's just easier to work on these when they're flat because you can press down and get them in place and not risk warping anything. But I guess, hey, a happy little accident there, and I can show you that it's still possible to do while this thing's together. No big deal. And you can actually flip that down on that edge or on that side and press down like so. And then that way you can still kind of use the leverage of the table. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and apply glue to this tab and spread that glue out to the edge and fold that in and under and just get those two joined there and press that in place. There we go. And it just leaves two more little tabs here. Get some glue on the first one. Make sure that glues out to the edge of that tab. And then bring this down, line it up, and press and squeeze. There we go. And it just leaves one more little guy here. Get a little bit of glue on the tab again. Get that glue out to the edge. And bring that down. And there you go. Okay, so there is our lid. Now our lid is there's going to be some fun stuff on this lid here in a little bit. I'm going to let that sit and rest for a minute while we work on the actual base. Okay, so now our base does not have any panels on it. It's just simply a base. But it does have these two side pieces, just like we had with our lid. So you want to start by putting glue on the longer tab here and spread that glue out. Okay, again, using those horizontal score lines here to match these two pieces up. Bring that in. It's kind of an awkward piece, but it's fine. We'll get it. And it's just easier to move this one, I think. There we go. Right there's good. Press that down. And then I'm going to fold this over onto itself. And then when I fold that, I can kind of look at it from this angle here and make sure that everything is lined up nicely. There we go. Okay. And flip that over this way. Do the same thing with the last side. Just like that. Bring that down. Okay. get that lined up. Again, using these horizontal score marks as my guide. Here we go. Press that down. And then I didn't like how that went on, so I'm going to fold this over ASAP. I can just tell that it was slightly off. So I'm going to nudge this down a little bit. And there we go. That's a lot better there. Press that down. Okay. So just like we did with the lid, we're going to begin by applying glue to these little trapezoid looking tabs here, one at a time, and then bring that under and behind this neighboring wall. And just press that into place, very simple. And then we can move on to our next tab. Apply our glue. Make sure you get that out to the edge. And then just tuck that right behind the neighboring piece there. And press and squeeze that into place. Okay. A couple more to go. And since we were working on the base, it's time for the big reveal, so to speak. I mean, it's not anything crazy. It's going to give you some options as far as what you're going to put in here. Okay, so here we have the last tab. Get your glue on there. Make sure you get that out to the edge. And then go ahead and tuck it behind the neighboring wall. Line it up nicely and press. Squeeze that together. And there's your beautiful container. Now we do have a little liner that's going to go right inside here just to cover up those tabs and to sturdy up our base. So if you want, you can just do a nice thin line of glue around the perimeter and just a little bit in the center. Then pop this right in. Run your finger along that perimeter and that'll sit nicely for us. Okay, so now here's what we're going to talk about, a couple different options. Now obviously there's still more to this box, but as you can see, our beautiful lid is going to go on here. Now sometimes when you have this little wave pattern, a couple of these waves might get kind of stuck inside here as you're putting it on. So just make sure that these little scallopy waves are all on the outside, and then the box should close very easily. Okay, so there you have it. Now again, the inside, all right, you can use it like this if you want, as just an open box. But we've also included these little slice forms in case you want to use this as a chocolate box. Now obviously I would line this with some parchment paper, some wax paper or whatnot. But to put this together, you've got two of these long strips here and then a series of these smaller ones. And you can see how there's little cuts here and there's cuts here. Essentially just putting it right onto, just feeding the cuts together. One's pointing down, one's pointing up, and then they create the slice form. I would do the first one here, and then the one on the other side here, just to straighten it out. It'll make applying the rest of them that much easier. I'd probably go somewhere in the center here. And just kind of wiggle it around until they go down like that. And this one's going to go here. You get the idea. You get all of these in place, and we've measured this out so that it fits nice and snug and perfectly into the container. And this will be ready for some chocolates now. Okay, so you got yourself a chocolate box as an option, all right? Now, if you don't want to use it for chocolates, we've also included this platform, and this platform is for the watch that you saw in the trailer. Okay, so to put this together, first thing we're going to do is we're going to find these pieces here. And these are just reinforcement pieces. What you're going to do is just throw a little bit of glue on the back side of one of these. and literally just going to glue it right on top of where the holes are. Just line it up with the existing holes and press that down. And that's just going to kind of give us 2 layers of paper so that when we do put our little elastic in there, it doesn't tear up the paper. It'll just be a little bit stronger and more durable, because that 1 layer should be okay, but depending on what kind of paper you use, if it's really thin, it might just rip it. And having that extra layer is going to help out a lot, okay? So to put this little platform together, just fold all these little tabs, okay? And then we're just going to take the tabs and glue them to the neighboring walls so that we can kind of elevate this a little bit so it's not sitting flat. Okay, so I've got my glue on the tab there. I'm going to tuck that in behind the neighboring wall and press and hold. Okay, going on over to this side. Now you'll notice how quickly I'm moving here. That's because I'm not using a lot of glue, and the glue that I am using is kind of, I really spread it nice and thin, so it doesn't take a lot of time for it to hold. It's not fully set, but it's set enough to where I can keep on cruising here and not wait, you know, a whole minute for my glue to dry, because that's not fun. Okay, we'll tuck that right behind this wall. There we go. And last but not least, 1 more little tab here. And I kind of caked it with glue on that one. And just rub your finger off on a little sponge or a wet damp towel, whatever you want to use. Okay, so there's our platform. And what you're going to do is have this elastic here. Let me peel this off. See, the elastic is what's going to hold your little watch in place. Okay, and essentially all we're doing, and I'm going to just keep this nice and long for a second. I'm going to feed that through. Yeah, I guess we can cut it. You just need enough to go through and to, well, tie it to the other end to make it all one long loop. And when we do that, we also want to keep it nice and tight so that it's got a little bounce to it. Okay, so we're going to tie it into a knot wherever, like that, and make it nice and tight, and then do another knot. Make sure you keep it nice and tight. Okay, so you can see here, oh, it kind of snaps back. So there's a lot of tension there. So for example, pretend that this is a watch. I have a watch that I'm going to use for my photo shoot here, but I want to grab something that's non-abrasive but also kind of heavy so that I can kind of pop it under there, and you can see how much tension is there, and that it will hold it even when it's upside down. Now obviously there's 2 of them here, so it'll really hold it in place. So to finish this off, you do the same thing here on the second one. Just feed that through. Now this one's a little frayed, so I'm going to trim it so it's clean and feeds through the hole very easily. Okay. And just going to tie this. And do another knot. And then of course, when you're done, you can just kind of trim this off, tidy it up a little bit so it doesn't look, so there's no excess elastic dangling. Okay, so that looks nice. Nice and clean. And obviously you're going to pop that right into the container and add your little watch there, and there you have it. Okay, so that is that. And now, of course, I mean, you could technically use it like this, but that's not how we roll. We like to add a little extra. See, again, with these little waves here, you just want to make sure that they're all tucked in order to close this properly. Okay, there we go. Again, you've got the optional little slice forms there for your chocolates. Now, we're gonna put together a little band here. Okay, actually, here, you know what? Let's put together our little caption. So it's made up of these 3 main layers and then the actual caption itself. So we're gonna take this second layer. You can see that I added a little bit of ink to this just to pretty it up a bit. We'll get our glue on this guy. And you'll notice on this the largest piece here, there are some little indicators there to help you with the placement. So get that in place, and then on the left and right you also want to make sure that you keep an even border all the way around. That looks good. Press that into place. And you know what? I actually realized this while I was doing it. I didn't even need to ink that piece because it's going to be covered up. But hey, I had fun. I had fun inking it, even though I didn't need to. All right, now we're gonna put glue on this white piece with the word happy cut out of it. So let's do that. And that is literally gonna go right on top of this other layer so that the word happy comes through in purple. And these little elements there, they're going to show through. The gold's going to show through them, I should say. Okay, so we've got that. And then we've got a shadow layer and a gold layer for the word anniversary. We need to glue the gold layer to the purple layer here. And you can do that. Now what I like to do with pieces like this is just get a little bit of glue popping out of the nozzle and go around and just hit it with little dots of glue here and there. And then that way I'm not getting glue all over my fingers and all over this piece. And then when I put it down onto the shadow layer, I don't risk getting glue all over the place. Little tiny dots go a long way with a delicate piece like this. Each one's doing quite a bit of work. So you don't need to overdo it on this, okay? Now obviously we just need to center this right on there. So just very carefully lay that right onto your little shadow piece. And I think we're gonna do, probably put a rhinestone or something, or a little pearl to dot the I in anniversary. So that went on nicely. And we can flip it over, and we'll kind of do the same thing here with this. Just use a series of little dots. Again, I'm barely pushing down on the glue bottle. Just pop out a tiny little bit of glue right on the tip of the nozzle, and just go around and just do little dots. You don't need to put glue on every single square inch of that. That will do. That is actually more than enough. Okay, and you do have some little indicators and little notches here, little markers to help you with the positioning of the word anniversary so that you can get that nice and centered, exactly where it needs to go. And ultimately, we're going to be gluing this to the box here like so, and adorning this with the flowers that we have here. But before we commit to the final location here, we're going to put together the band as well as this cool little bow that our mighty Ron developed here. So you'll notice that there's a fold here and then there's a smaller fold here. This is actually a tab. So go ahead and apply your glue to the tab here. And I'm just going to dab that glue, make it nice and flat, and we're going to connect it to this side here, the longer folded area. Just line that up like so. And I'm going to fold this over onto itself at that seam where I just connected the two, just to make sure that this is laying right on top of the other piece. If yours is off like that, that means that you don't have it glued right here. So make sure you've got it glued nice and straight, and these two should sit right on top of each other flush. Okay, so once we have that, we can go over to the other tab and apply your glue. You can dab that with your finger if you'd like, and connect it to the other end to make this all one seamless and continuous piece here. Okay. Now this band, as you probably guessed, is going to slip right over the box here, just like that. And we can kind of leave it there for now so that we can get a good idea of where things are going. Now, while we have this on here, we're going to take the bottom of our bow, which we've not yet created, but we're going to take the bottom of that and get that glued into place. You can take a dowel and pinch the paper, the actual tail, between your finger and the dowel, and kind of bend it like 45 degrees, and then just run the dowel through, and that's called training. Okay, so we'll do that again. And it's just giving this thing a little bit of life. All right, now take some glue, just put it in this little area here. It's almost a square in between the two tails. And we're going to glue this down centered onto our little band here. Just make sure you get that nice and centered. And press that down. Does that look centered to you? I'd say so. Yeah, it looks good. It can be off a little bit. It's not going to make or break it. Okay, so now the fun part, this is something a little bit different. We have, well, we've got these two pieces. One has a little Roman numeral 1. The other has a Roman numeral 2. Take this and also train it so that you kind of create a half circle. Do that again with this one. And what we're going to do, you don't need to fold this, but this is where you want to put the glue. Just put some glue right at the very edge of this, but don't go beyond that fold or that little score mark. And take this other side and glue that down, but press that up against the little score mark there. Okay, and you're just creating a little loop. We're going to need to make 2 of these loops. There's one. I'll do the same thing here. Throw a little bit of glue in that area, but do not go past where the little score marks are. And bring that over and press that into place. Okay, just hold that for a moment. Okay. And then right where we have the little fold there, or the seam I should say, you can go ahead and put a little bit of glue right on one of these pieces. Take one of these and pop it inside of the other one to create this sort of thing here, where one is literally just inside of the other. Press that down where we applied the glue. Make sure it's centered. Okay, just hold that. Actually, just glue it down, and then you can always kind of move it left or right to completely center it. Okay, but that's what we're looking for. Okay, and now the fun part, here's where you really want to pay attention. Okay, so we have a total of, I believe there's 4 of these. Yes, there is. Okay, 4 of these. They all look the same. And this one I already kind of trained, and I trained this one too. You just want to get the fibers of the paper moving. So just like we did with the tail on the bow, just start training this. Start training it, making it round, and work those fibers. Just kind of release that tension in there. Doesn't matter how you do it right now. Just get those fibers going and release them a little bit. Okay. Okay, so find the center hole. Okay. And what we're going to do, now here's my texture side. I'm going to take this side that has 2 angles. This side has 1 angle. It's just like a blade. This side has 2 angles. I'm going to take the side with 2 angles and wrap it around so that the texture side comes up and goes over the hole and is flush with the top here. Okay, so all we need to do is just put a little bit of glue around this hole here. Okay, and then bring this up flush with the top, and we want the holes to match up. Okay, just make sure the holes match up. If they're, just get them as close as you can. Okay, so look what we have here. We've got a nice little loop, and it's starting to look like a bow. And that's what we're trying to create here. So now that we have that in place, you can throw another little bit of glue right there. We'll take the other side that has the little single angle here, and we're going to go the other way. We're not going to go down this way. We're going to go up, bring that around right over the hole again, and it should be flush on both sides here. Okay, just like that. And press and hold that down. Okay, so that's what we have here. We've got a nice little figure 8 sort of thing. I'm going to do this again, don't worry. I'll probably do it all 4 times so that maybe the second time you'll catch something that I didn't do the first time. And essentially what we're doing is we're creating a bow here by joining 4 of these together. So it's kind of cool that we can actually do this. Okay, so there's one. We'll do it again. So again, find the little hole in the center. Then we're going to grab this piece. We're going to bring it up, and it's going to sit flush up against the top section here, like so, almost flush. Okay, like that. So we'll go ahead and just put some glue around the circle here. We're taking it from this side, looping it under, and then over, and match up the hole. Press that down. Okay. And we'll put some glue right on the hole there. And this time we're going to go up and over. And just make sure that this is lined up like so. And just press that down. Here we go. Okay, and to construct this now, we got the first 2 layers here. I'm going to take some glue, put some glue around the center here, and just completely offset this the opposite direction, like so, right in the center there, just like that. Okay. And then the next one's going to go this way, and the next one's going to go that way, and then we're going to finish it off with these 2 little loops, and we're going to have a nice, full, beautiful bow that you made with paper. And it's always going to hold its shape. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, so there's 2. We'll do it again, just in case. It's kind of weird. Okay, so there's your center hole. You're going to take this, loop it under. And again, this is still my texture side here, so just make sure you're staying on the same side. You don't want to go that way. You want to bring this down and under. Match up the holes. Okay, you should see it's nice and flush there. Almost. Close enough, you get the idea. Okay, pressing that in place. Throw a little bit of glue around that hole. This one's going up and over, matching up the holes, and then also making sure that it lines up here and here. So you might need to kind of push it into place a little bit. Just make sure that it's nice and aligned. There we go. And just press and hold that in place. Let that glue set. And then after this, all there is just a few little decorative flowers. And we'll call this one pretty much done. Okay, so there's that. And then we can throw a little bit of glue right around this little hole. And again, this one's just going to go this way, just offsetting it. Now obviously you got to curl these or kind of pinch these up ever so slightly so that they fit in there. They're kind of fighting for room now. And if it helps, you can always take something and just pop it through the center just to make sure that you've got it nice and aligned. It doesn't have to be completely spot on. It's got to be in the ballpark, as they say. Okay, so there's 3. And again, there's a lot of tension there, so be patient. All right, find your center. I would have the single edge on the right, the double edge on the left. There's your single, double. Okay, let's throw a little bit of glue around the hole here. Wrap this under and then over and line up the holes. Put glue here and pop that one. You're gonna go opposite. This one's going up and down. You're gonna stagger it. So you're essentially creating a cross here. And you're gonna glue that into place like so, okay? Okay, so I've got all of these loops in place now. You can go ahead and throw a little bit of glue in the center and then take these 2 that we created earlier and pop those into place. Now with this, it may be a little difficult to really push this down. So you could throw a little extra glue in there, like kind of be generous with it, and just pop that right into place. Okay, so there is your beautiful custom paper bow, unlike any bow that we've made before. And I'm just going to take my dowel and just push from the inside just to make sure everything is making good contact. And of course, we're going to let that fully sit and set before we do anything with it. And then finally, I would take and I'd probably hot glue that right onto that section there. Now, we're going to bring this up a little bit so that it's, I'd say about a third of the way in on the box. Remember, this is already glued down. You've got that all glued down. And this is when we figure out where we're going to put our little caption. Now, obviously, we want some good headroom here, nice headroom here, and then a little bit of space here. You don't want to put it all the way over here. Try to get it nice and centered, right about there. We can scoot this back a little bit. I still need to hot glue that. I'll do that off camera. I don't really want to get the hot glue gun out right now. That does not sound like fun to me. Okay, so we're going to put it right about there, get it nice and centered. So let's see here. Yeah, we can just glue that down flat. You could also, if you want, you could pop dot this and raise it up. Use some foam squares to give this a little bit of dimension. But I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down flat. Okay, again, make sure you've got headroom here. You've got some headroom at the bottom. I guess if it's on the bottom, I'm not sure if they call it headroom. But right about there is good. Get it nice and centered. Press that down. Make sure it's level. And just continue holding. I'm going to make sure that that looks good. And it does. Keep holding that. And what we can actually do is if you open this up, flip it upside down, you can push from the inside and really get that to stick. There we go. Okay. All right, put that back. There we go. Okay, so that is in place. Got a little bit of that area over there lifting up. I'm not happy with that, so I'll throw a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper. Just tuck it underneath this area here that's lifting up, and just press and hold that. Probably applied a little bit too much glue there, so I will just scrape that off with an X-Acto. And the rest of it, just kind of rub it in. There you go. No foul there. No harm. Okay. Absolutely would hot glue this to hot glue that, and then hot glue this to that to get that to stick. And then all that's left is to apply our little flowers here. We've got a large one that we're going to put in the bottom right corner of this guy here. And what you want to do is just take and just pinch the tips of these little leaves here. So you can start by just kind of putting one finger down in the center and the other two, and push down with your pointer finger and up with your thumb and your middle finger, and then pinch the tip. Okay, just like that. All right, and now we want these petals to, well, the little round butt there, I want that in the corner. Okay, so we can take a little bit of glue and just glue that into place. It's okay if the petals are kind of sticking off a little bit. I think that makes it look nice. Okay, and then we've got these little flowers here. You can take a nice thin dowel, and we're just going to train these up. Just kind of curl them in to give them a little bit of life so they're not so flat. Okay, like that. We've got I'm going to put the lighter one underneath the darker one to get that contrast. Okay, so there's my lighter one. Throw just a little dot of glue in there. Take the darker one, and we're just going to offset or stagger it a little bit so that they're not right on top of each other. I'm going to pull these up a little bit and push these back, create a little separation between these two layers, like so. There we go. I'll decorate the centers of these with either a rhinestone or a pearl or something. And we'll take some glue, pop it right in the center of our little flower here, and just add him to this little area here. Press that down into place. Might need to hold that down for a few seconds. And again, he's kind of sticking off just a little bit, and that's okay. If you want, you can actually probably bring that up a little bit more so it's not sticking off so much. And if it's hanging over the little caption there, that's okay too. Okay, so right about there is fine. Then we've got a smaller flower here. We're going to take, and again, just going to pinch the tips of the leaves just like we did the first time. Okay, and I'm going to keep the orientation like this. Whoops. And throw a little bit of glue right in the center of that guy. Put him right about there. And grab our flower. Same thing. Just take these petals and just kind of curl them towards you. Just to give them a nice round, full sort of look. And we'll just throw a little bit of glue on the back, get him in place. And we just got a few more to go. And I will get the hot glue gun out here and get everything glued down so I can show you this thing in all of its glory. There we go. Get that flower right there where those three little leaves meet. Kind of want it centered right there. Okay, then we've got one more up here. Again, try to pinch the tips of those leaves. Give that a little bit of dimension. It gets harder to pinch these when you're dealing with smaller cuts here, but it's still possible. Okay, throw a little bit of glue on there. And this guy's going right up here. It's going to be hanging off just a tad. There we go. Same thing with our little flower here. Just take and curl those leaves towards you. Kind of fold them up a little bit. Give them a little bit of dimension. Just a single little drop of glue there. And again, right where these three little petals meet, you'll see there's a little dimple there, a little butt. And just press that down. There we go. Last but not least, got one more little flower to put down. I've got ink all over my fingers. Pardon the discoloration of everything. I've been inking and crafting and going nuts here. Okay. Throw a little bit of glue right on the back. And this one's going to go right about here. Put them right about there. Okay. And our final little flower. Now, obviously, you can put these wherever you'd like. I'm just going based on the original sketch and the original prototype, because there's a lot of thought and planning put into these. So we just want to show you where everything goes based on all of the original work that we've all done here internally. And there it is. Okay, so I need to glue this down a little bit better. And I'm going to hot glue this, and I'll be right back to show you the final result here. Okay, so everything is hot glued into place as far as the bow goes. You can see how wonderful that all looks. Now, while I was waiting for the hot glue to warm up, I added some gold pearls to the centers of the flowers and added just some gold pearls around the flowers, and then actually had some liquid pearls that I just kind of added a splash here and there around the actual pearls themselves, the plastic pearls that you see here. And that is the end result, and that's what it looks like. I think it is probably, well, it's a very elegant piece. Actually, one of my favorites, I would say, actually, as far as boxes go. So anyway, I hope you agree, and I hope you had fun. If you did, take a moment and head on over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And after you do that, if you did make this, I'd love to see your version, and so would the rest of our dreamers. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in the URL here that you see at the bottom of your screen. It'll take you straight there. So yeah, I'd love to see your version with your colors, and maybe it's not for an anniversary, maybe it's for a birthday and you used a custom font. Either way, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. But anyway, that's it. All 3 projects are done. This was my last one for the day. I had fun. I hope you did too, and I look forward to crafting with you again.